Howdy folks, LP Guru here signing in for Let's Play Final Fantasy I Episode 10. And I realized after reviewing the previous episode that I had forgotten that the Western Keep also has a room that is locked by the mystic key. So we will be heading that direction first. And I'm finally clarifying things for the last time. I can never remember if it was called the Abandoned Castle or Western Keep. And while reviewing the previous episode, when I had the status menu open at one point, when we were in the Western Keep, it actually said, had the location listed on that screen, and it's called the Western Keep. So that is its official name. Now that we are almost forever done with it, I am finally learning its name. And we'll be calling it by its correct name. So yes, Western Keep, Marsh Cave, then we will sail north back to the Temple of Chaos, and those will be the final Mystic Key rooms that will be unlocked. And at some point along the way, there will be another story element included. So right now it kind of feels like we're just floating around. We're just existing with no real purpose. Since nothing specific has been said to us in the game, but that is simply because during the course of acquiring everything from all of these mystic key locked rooms, new direction will be gained. And yeah, right now it's a toss-up as to how many enemies will actually remain to be hit by the Fire 2 spell. Once you reach the level we currently are, which is level 17, you will find that most enemies will begin to run. So it's always going to be a toss-up, unless, of course, Vivi can start the fight off with casting Fire 2. That's the clear exception. So So here you just, oh yeah, it's like a maze. They have it set up in such a way where you have to go all the way around just to get to the room. And I think we've encountered wraiths in the marsh cave. But if not, this is their debut. Say hi and say bye. Because they're dead. There's not much to them. Like, well, technically I don't know if they're considered part of the undead family or not, but if they are, then they are definitely weak to both the Dia spells and the fire spells. And yeah, just to be safe, this is our first run-in with mummies, I will go ahead and cast Fire too. I mean, our warrior is now awake, but he had been put to sleep, which is why I'm doing this. A good bit of experience for just 2 enemies. Now, something worth noting is that much like the marsh cave, where the Pisco demons could be encountered, how it is a repeat trigger point, that excuse me, that tile, much is the same with this room. So you have to be careful to not step directly in front of a treasure chest that has already been opened, otherwise it will trigger the fight again. And I'm checking out this weapon's parameters, and there's no point to equip it because the mithril sword is of much better quality, and the same is true for the power staff. For the white mage, at least, I'll put it on Vivi. And yeah, I noticed that his accuracy has dropped some as a result, but he needs that boost in attack power, so it's worth the trade-off. And realistically, it's going to be super rare that Vivi physically attacks from this point forward, pretty much the marsh cave through the rest of the game. Your black mage is going to be busy, very busy, casting magic. But for those few times where your black mage does need to physically attack, you can't go wrong with the power staff. Alright, so we are done in the Western Keep, officially. No reason to ever go back. You know, unless I were to ever, get to missing it, need to go back and hang out with my mummy boys or anything, but aside from that, oh no, we are forever done. with the Western Keep. And next up is the Marsh Cave. And another very straightforward fight. No need to cast magic at all. At this point, being poisoned is much more of an annoyance than an actual threat. Because level 4 spells, well, not spells, but the MP is now at 19 for both Rosa and Vivi, so we have more than enough MP to cast Asuna. So if anyone were to be poisoned, we're good. But it's always cool to see just how things begin to look and play out once you have come out on the other side of things. It's cool to see how a new area was first such a challenge and such a threat in so many different ways upon first arriving, and then how it becomes in some regards it becomes a slowdown factor. Certain fights that have enemies who are capable of inflicting different status elements, having to deal with those status elements and everything is what slows down, you know, some of the fights. But like I say, it's cool to see how everything progresses. And yes, some of the equipment, especially the new sword that was found in the Western Keep, I really do think that the game, the developers, didn't expect a lot of players to have taken the time to save up enough money for the mithril sword. And they're right. Most players, I would say at least 75% of players, would not take that time. No, look, here's some more Pisco demons. Speak of the devil. And at this point, casting haste on your warrior is just overkill for the enemy, but they do a good bit of physical damage, because normally our warrior is not taking in the 30 hit point range of damage. So yes, this is why I have been casting shield every single time you run into these bad boys. Because if they can sometimes deal in the 30 range of damage to the warrior, you can only imagine damage that they can deal to the spellcasters. And the silver armlet is a nice upgrade to the copper armlet, a very nice upgrade. And sometimes it's debated on, and yes, this is a trigger point, you can't bypass that. Even if I had gone like up and around it, both tiles are trigger points. I don't know why I keep wanting to go down to select shield. It's like, it's the level 1 spell, man. Just go right. It's on the it's on the same row that it starts off. Okay, well that was just who knew? That was just a waste of MP. No, I don't need items. I need maybe haste. Nah, maybe not. Let's see. We'll see if it. Yeah, okay, good. Sabin redeemed himself. His first attack was rather pathetic, and I was like, really? Really? But he redeemed himself. And unless I'm mistaken, I think that all of these bottom rooms have Pisco Demon encounters. So just a heads up for that. That more than likely will not be the last time we have seen them. But this is also all the more reason to level up as much as possible and be as prepared as possible. Because when the Pisco Demons were the boss fight, that was not the only time they're going to be encountered. So it's super important to make the most of the opportunity after completing the Pisco Demon boss fight and heading back to town and resting up and saving your progress, because you know there's a good chance that you can level up at least one time during the entire process, and that level up, possibly 2 level ups if you're able to, can make all the difference in the world for what we're doing right now. Alright, so we just got a mithril knife that I will directly compare it to the power staff. And the mithril knife is the best option. Yes, it drops attack power by 2, but as just witnessed, it boosts the accuracy parameter a very good bit. Now this room, there's nothing of interest. However, I believe there is a trigger point close, if not right at those statues. You know how there were 3 little statues? If you had stepped on the tile where the bottom left statue is missing, you know, where there should have been a statue, I believe that is the trigger point. Just like there's a trigger point here. But the other trigger point in the other room, I believe it always spawns way more Pisco demons than the room we're currently in and the fight we're currently in. And also, we've gotten to the point with levels that our warrior can pretty much take out a single Pisco demon under normal circumstances without being enhanced with haste. Haste was the word I was looking for. At first I thought I had misspoken, but then I thought, no, that's the word I need. Alright, so the marsh cave is now 100% completed. Here it's just a matter of remembering what enemies are weak to what. Also, in one of my previous episodes, I called the green slime by the wrong name. I had thought that that it was both gray ooze and green ooze, but it is in fact green slime and gray ooze. So just to clarify that slip of the tongue. And as always, just make sure that everyone is relatively close to their max hit point value. Yes, we are still in a dungeon. And that is something that this game is very, very effective at doing. And that is lulling the player into a false sense of security. It's very, very easy to forget that, well, you know, not forget that you're in a dungeon, but once you have completed a dungeon, defeated its boss, done everything that there is to do in the dungeon, it's very easy to forget that the dungeon is still a dungeon and it still poses all the threats that have always existed. That's what I'm trying to say. So don't let your guard down. Continue to practice what you have always practiced. If someone, you know, if any given character, and it depends on the character of course, but like for the warrior, if he has fallen below, you know, 50 hit points, you know, 50 hit points or more below his max hit point value, go ahead and heal him. The monk is a little different, you know, his hit point value, his hit point loss may not be as much as that of the warriors, but as you can see, his max hit point value isn't as much as the warrior, and the same is true for your spellcasters. So again, if it looks like any of your characters have received significant hit point loss, always make sure to heal between fights, because this is definitely the first dungeon where you cannot afford for an enemy strikes first kind of scenario, and for you to have not healed up before that fight. Trust me, I speak from experience. Some very not nice things, I almost said some very not nice things have happened to me in past playthroughs because I was lulled into that false sense of security. Alright, looks like everybody is right under their max hit point value. So everybody's good in that regard. We require 710 experience to level up. Okay, so now the Western Keep and Marsh Cave have both been 100% completed. We've acquired everything from the Mystic Key locked rooms from both locations. Right now we will head back to town, rest up, and save our progress. Oh, and one more thing to mention, because I keep forgetting to mention this. If you do not heal a character who has been poisoned when a fight is over, or in a general sense, it doesn't matter when, but if they remain poisoned, they will continue to lose hit points with every, I believe it's every step that is taken. So yes, there is a direct need to remedy anyone that is poisoned. For that very reason. It's way easier to use a single MP and get rid of poison right away than it is to allow continued damage to be received, then use Asuna, and then have to use Cure. I know that's, that should be obvious, but sometimes I feel like certain things just really need to be emphasized. A lot of things, can be read between the lines, but certain things that, yes, do seem, obvious and seem like common sense, some of those things just really have to be stated in order to emphasize the importance of them. And the main reason that I want to be staying at the inn is mostly because not only can you never be guaranteed what can happen in the game, but you can never be guaranteed that you won't experience some kind of natural event in real life, meaning, you know, if a storm were to suddenly pop up and take the power out, you know, you lose power. Obviously, you've lost all the progress you have made since you first started playing, and then you have to do everything over again. You never know if something in life is going to come up that's going to pull you away from being able to continue playing the game. And it's a real-time thing where, you know, you have to leave. You have to go, like, leave home, go do something, and you're either in the middle of a fight or you're nowhere near civilization. You're nowhere near any kind of town. So, well, you will definitely wish that you had saved your progress when you had the opportunity. And yes, again, I speak from personal experience, but thankfully, in the case of having to suddenly leave home and everything, thankfully that has not happened in however many years, I don't even know, but it has been a while. Thankfully, that was the type of lesson that once it was learned, it stuck with me forever. So it was definitely one of those one and done. Alright, I'm paying attention, I'm listening, I will not be a repeat offender. So yes, that is why I say all that I do. Once you look at the world map, I will chance the dock. This dock. Hey, it actually went there the first try. Huh. Just look at that. But yes, I'm going to chance docking there and seeing if we can head back east. That would be the quickest way to get to the Temple of Chaos, but it is going to be this mountain range to our right that just appeared. That's going to be the main deciding factor. Because if it is in our way, then there is nothing I can do about that. Yeah, looks like it is. Darn you, mountains! Get out my way. Yeah, so looks like we have to sail back to Cornelia and take the long way. But the really good thing is most of these fights should result in the majority of the enemies running away. But now watch, as soon as I say that, that won't be how anything plays out. Never fails. Never fails. It's like the game is saying, I live to prove you wrong. And so far it has done it twice. But another thankful factor is that even if they don't run away, every fight through here is super straightforward, and just about anything we come across can be easily defeated by any character. Alright, so here we are, back at the Temple of Chaos. And one of the enemies ran away, and the other one is dead. Man, seems like a lifetime ago that 7 experience was even considered a somewhat decent amount. It is a trigger point. I couldn't remember if it was or not, but it's just gargoyles, so they're not a threat. As our Black Mage takes 40 hit points of damage. But they're still not that big of a threat. Unless all three had decided to gang up on Vivi, then you know, that would not have been nice or good. Okay, so here is the rune blade. There's obviously a weapon for the warrior. That's also the kind of weapon that has to be taken into consideration before equipping. Not that there's anything wrong with equipping it, but I mean, it's the first weapon that possesses special attributes. So far in the game, anything we have ever found, whether we have purchased it or it has been found, you know, in a treasure chest, everything we have equipped has been standard. No special attributes to them, but the rune blade, let me try that one more time because it sounded kind of funny when I first did it. The rune blade is the very first that does have special attributes. And I may be mistaken, but I think there's another special attribute kind of weapon in this room. We will just have to wait and see. Okay, the Werebane is in this chest, so that is the other one. And those are the only two that are like that. So we have the Rune Blade, which says it's a sword that is effective against spellcasting foes. And the Werebane is effective against Werebeast. So, obviously they are both a downgrade compared to the currently equipped Mithril Sword, but where they really shine is their special attribute. And yes, you have to get in this fight again because it's a trigger point and there's no getting around it. So, yes, like I just said. Oh, yeah, you can see it right there. Of course, that was also a critical, so that may have had nothing to do with the special attribute. But the Werebane sword is going to be highly effective against anything that is well, I'm trying to think of the best way of phrasing things. I'm sure that what comes to mind initially for everyone hearing the word, hearing and seeing the word were in it is, wolf. Werewolf and everything, and that is correct. You are 100% correct about that. But the game takes it a step further, and they apply it to anything that is both wolf related and a transformed humanoid, or a humanoid hybrid type creature. So it doesn't have to be just related to a wolf. And yes, I more than understand this will make proper sense in certain fights. This is one of those things that really has to be demonstrated more than simply talked about and verbally explained. We will eventually get to that point, but not right now. Well, I mean, we'll be running into, wolves and everything like that in this area, but I specifically mean the more elaborate type monsters. They lie in wait later. And trust me, you ain't seen nothing yet. And yes, I know that's improper English. I try not to use the word ain't very much, but sometimes it just has to be used to put things into their proper perspective. So I will say it one more time. You ain't seen nothing yet. The enemies encountered in this game so far, yes, they've all been rather fantastical in the fantasy sense, but they have all also been, gosh, I'm getting tongue-tied left and right. They have all also been rather grounded and tame in the fantasy realm of things, but that will be changing at some point in the relatively near future. Now, right now, I'm gonna head back into Castle Cornelia, because there are a few rooms, not that one though, But there are a few rooms that have been locked by the Mystic Key. And if I'm being perfectly honest though, I had forgotten about that at the beginning of the game, so I didn't run around the place like a headless chicken locating them. But that's what I'm doing right now, in case anyone is wondering. Alright, here they are. And then you can talk to this dude, and he has this to say. And had I remembered that before we had acquired the Mystic Key, he would have had something different to say that would have pretty much alluded to how, these rooms are locked, they're locked by the Mystic Key, and that the, Mystic Key is required to open these doors, but he doesn't say anything along the lines of, how to get the Mystic Key, who has it, and anything like that. Alright, what do we get? Alright, the nitro powder. Obviously, when that little tune is heard, it means that a key item has just been received. And it says that nitro powder is packed with explosive power. Right now, it doesn't matter what order you really do this in, but the order I have just done things in, we acquired the item before we were told to go get it. But that's okay, it doesn't change. It doesn't change anything. I don't think we received anything that is better quality than what we currently have equipped. So, thinking for a minute. Yeah, that's everything to do here. So we are also done with Castle Cornelia. I was trying to remember if anyone at the castle says anything specific about what to do next, but I remembered that they do not, and that the only place that gives you a little bit of direction is where we have always where we have already come from, and that was Elfheim. How some of the elves there and at the castle alluded to the dwarves. So that is where we are heading next. See how the dwarves can aid us. See what they have to offer. If we look at the world map, and zoom in. We'll see that we have to head to the southwest. The dwarves live in a cave. And I know that that icon on the world map screen, it makes it look like it's a dungeon because it's the same. It's the same icon used for dungeons, but it's not a dungeon, it's just a cave. It's just the cave where the dwarves dwell. Try saying that 5 times fast. I'm surprised I was able to say it once without getting tongue-tied. We're almost there. So close, but yet so far. Really? Really? Come on now. That wasn't nice. Why you gotta do me like that? Just because you can poison me doesn't mean you have to. Good grief. What did I ever do to you? I mean, I only just killed one of your friends right in front of you. But that's no reason to want to hurt me, is it? Rally ho! Alrighty, anything important to say? Okay, so apparently, had I decided to bring us here, okay, thank you. Had I decided to bring us here, after first getting the ship, we would have had a little more insight on the Crystal Eye and now I'll talk to him and Astos. Alright, and I'm back. Apparently, the live commentary decided to skip out at some point, so I'll have to go back and look at that in the very near future. But we received a tent from the first treasure chest and Grand Helm from the second Worm Killer. And this chest, another mithril knife, a regular helmet, a mithril mail, which will definitely come in use. More money. And a cottage. And like the Werebane and Rune Blade, the Worm Killer has a special attribute, which is being effective against dragons, which we have yet to encounter, but will be at some point in the near future. The Grand Helm is for the warrior, and so is Mithril Mail, but the trade-off is that it has a lower defensive parameter, but it boosts the warrior's evasion. So warrior has a slightly higher chance of evading, but if he's still hit, he will receive more damage than the previous armor that had been equipped. However, he's still way above everyone else in the defensive parameter regard, so that evasion boost is worth it. And here is the dwarf that needs the nitro powder. And since it is packed with explosive power, and the dwarves have been wanting to build a canal, yeah, exactly. He took some of the words out of my mouth. Yeah, they're getting ready to blow some stuff up. Gladly, yeah. Let's go. Yeah, you remember earlier when I was mentioning about how we're in an area that is like a sea, but isn't really like a sea? Well, now we have true access to the open sea, and the rest of the world. Alright, we're done here for now. For now, we will be having to come back but at a much later point in the story. simple, straightforward fighting. Heading back to the dock to get back on our ship. So we can head back to Cornelia, rest up, save our progress, and be ready to venture out into the wide open world. In the next episode. Definitely in the next episode, since that is going to be a lot of content. With no save points in sight for a little while. So it would just be best and safest to do like I normally do. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm gonna rest up, save progress, and we will be ready to begin exploring the wide open world in the next episode. As always, thank y'all so much for tuning in. I will catch y'all in the next episode. Maybe I won't get as tongue-tied as I have in this one. But we shall see. LP Guru, signing out.